Hello YouTube, this is Mage Power, and I am a little bit annoyed by my computer right now because this is the third time I'm recording this video, because every time my internet decides it wants to stop and you keep losing all your background music. So shout out to Chill Hop Radio right away. You know, it's not their end that's doing it, it's mine, but obviously I figure I should get that shout out right away. Since I've done it at the end a few times, definitely check them out, link down in the description below. Now, if you've been to my live streams, if you've been just following me in general, this is a deck that I want to talk about today that I think is going to absolutely be an amazing deck when it comes out in Lightning Overdrive here in a few months. This deck is what a lot of people are calling the Altergeist 2.0. This is a deck I've been playing, and I very much enjoy this deck. And this, for those of you who really don't know what it is yet, is the Tože deck. Now, right now, they have a total of 6 traps revealed. They have 3 monsters and 3 spell cards. The most important part are the trap cards, so I will go through the trap cards first. First of all the trap cards except for one, you target an amazement monster you control, or a monster your opponent controls, and they get effects based on what they're equipped to. They will equip to them. So rapid racing here, you target a card in your opponent's graveyard, change the equipped monster's battle position, and if you do, shuffle that target into the deck. And then the opponent effect, you can increase the equipped monster's level by 1, and if you do, change its battle position. This is not a card that I recommend playing in the deck, however, it's not a bad option, possibly depending on a format. I could see it being a consideration if you really do need the trap cards, but we're starting off with some of the lower end here. We're definitely going to get into some of the better traps here. Next off, we have Majestic Menage. This is not a card I play either, but if it's equipped to your monster, the equipped monster gains 500 attack. Also, if it would be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. That's not a bad effect, and I can see why some people might play it, especially in a grindy format. It's not terrible, but the other effect, the equipped monster loses 500 attack for each of your attraction traps that are equipped to a monster. So, in theory, you can use this to boost and redo stats and stuff like that. So it's not terrible, but again, stat modification at the end of the day is not that great. If this sees play, it'll see play more for the pure fact that it can prevent the destruction of monsters. But honestly, right now, in the deck, that's not that important. The monsters don't matter that much, even though the monsters are actually pretty good. Then we move on to Horror House. This is a card essentially on your monster. You target an effect monster and negate its effects until the end of the turn. Your opponent, you change the opponent's monster to face down. So either way, it's either a breakthrough skill or it's a Book of Moon. Both effects are actually pretty good, and this is a very good card. Additionally, we have Cyclone Coaster. This is going to be your generic searcher. You can equip it to your opponent's monster to search for any amazement monster, and then send Cyclone Coaster to the graveyard. The other effect, if it's equipped to your own monster, is also pretty good. It is back row removal. You target a spell or trap your opponent controls, and you send both this card and that opponent's spell or trap to the graveyard. It's also worth noting it is send, not destroy, so any spell or trap that gets effect off of destruction will not trigger off of this. Then we have Wonder Wheel. This card's okay. It's not like the other two that I just showed, but it's not bad. Essentially, I play it for the effect that if it's equipped to your monster, you can put a card from your hand on the bottom of the deck to draw one card. Lets you kind of get rid of some of those bricks. So like if you play a Dragoon engine, for example, and you drew the Dark Magician, you could put the Dark Magician on the bottom of your deck and draw the top card of your deck. You know, all those bricks that you don't like. Oh, you're playing Gamma and you drew the driver. Here, let's just get rid of that driver. You know, certain situations, I'm not saying this is a 3 of, but it's not a bad card, and 1 or 2 is probably pretty good, and I think you'll probably see play at least a little bit. The other effect, though, on your opponent, it allows you to switch the equipped monster's current attack and defense until the end of the turn. That's not as great, although if you have something like, a Danger Bigfoot on your opponent's field, you can use that to your advantage and make it so they have no attack. I've never had that come up, but it's cool that it's there. And lastly, this is the trap that I think really is the icing on the cake. This is Amazement Family Face. This is a different trap card. This is not like the rest. This says target a monster your opponent controls that is equipped with your Dhutttraction trap card. Equip this to it. Take control of the equipped monster. While you control the equipped monster, it gains 500 attack, it cannot activate its effects, and it's treated as an amazement monster. You can only activate one per turn. Now, on the surface, this actually seems kind of fair because you have to be able to put another Dhutttraction trap on there. But there is one way around this, and this is where I'm going to actually jump into the monsters here. There is Amazement Administrator. I don't know if they're pronouncing that A the same way, but Arlecchino, however you want to say that name. Once per turn, you can banish any number of Dhutttraction traps from your graveyard, then target that many cards your opponent controls, destroy them. So it is targeting, it is destruction, however, it is mass removal. So if you have, say, 3 traps in your graveyard, you want to destroy 3 cards, you can go ahead and do that. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If a trap card is activated, except during the damage step, you can special summon Arlecchino from your hand. And then, one other thing. This is the thing that's really key. This last effect. If your opponent normal or special summons a monster or monsters, except during the damage step, you can target one of those opponent's monsters, equip that opponent's monster with 1  Dhutttraction trap from your deck. So if you have Arlecchino on the field and your opponent summons anything, like, I don't know, pick a matchup, anything that you think would absolutely be destroyed by their normal summon being disrupted. Here, let me equip Family Face from deck. Gimme. It doesn't say you can't do that. I'm assuming as of right now, there hasn't been a ruling against this as far as I'm aware, because Family Face, in order to be activated, has to be equipped to a monster that was already equipped. But it seems that Arlecchino does seem to bypass these restrictions, allowing you to essentially activate Snatch Steal from your deck. This is an interaction I've been very aware of so far, and I have absolutely been catching so many people by surprise with this interaction. This is one of my favorite things to actually do in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now is to, oh hey, you summoned a monster that I want on my field? Here, gimme. It almost seems unfair that you can do this. Moving on though, we do have 2 monsters left. We have Amazement Ambassador Bufo. When this card is normal summoned, you can target a trap in your graveyard and a monster your opponent controls. Equip that trap to it. And then both of this monster and the other monster have a quick effect that allow you to target an Dhutttraction trap that is equipped to a monster and equip it to a different monster. So you can, say you want to change what effect you're going to get. Say you have a Family Face up and you'd rather take control of a different monster. You can unequip the Family Face and equip it to a different monster that you'd rather have. It's really that simple. And then lastly, the other really good monster for the deck, this is Comica. This, when it's normal summoned, you can set 1  Dhutttraction trap directly from your deck, and then it has the other effect that you can switch around what things are equipped to. And then we have 3 spells to cover. I'll get to the worst one in my opinion first. This is Amazement Special Show. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets an amazement monster or monsters you control, you can target one of those monsters, return it to the hand, then special an amazement monster from your hand. Essentially, to me, this says -1 to save your monster. And it has to be an effect that targeted. And it has to be your opponent that did it. I mean, it's cool, but okay. But the other two I do like. They have a field spell. You can activate one attraction trap card during your main phase of the turn it was set. So essentially this gives you a way to go first, activate Precious Park. Precious Park, oh, I just happen to have this trap card in my hand that I want to activate. Here, let me activate this. I can do that because this card says I can activate one per turn, basically, without having to wait a turn. During the end phase, this is the other effect I really like. You can send an attraction trap you control that is equipped to a monster to the graveyard, and then target one of your attraction traps that is banished or in your graveyard, and send it to your spell and trap zone. You can only use both of those effects once per turn, but this allows you, so say you have a lingering trap card that isn't being very useful to you right now, you could actually essentially rotate them out of your banished and graveyard pretty freely, and this also allows you to set up loops with our Yugioh, because this you can banish from grave, so this allows you to fetch from the banish pile, so you could essentially cycle out your banished traps with the ones on your field to put them back into the graveyard for a Yugioh, feeding almost an infinite cycle for you in that sense. And then lastly, we have Amazing Time Ticket. This, you pay 800, pay 8, feel great, and then apply this effect. On your turn, you can add an Amazement card from your deck to your hand, so that's going to be any of these three monsters. So, a monster searcher for the deck, and then on your opponent's turn, you can set an attraction trap card directly from your deck, and it can be activated this turn. So essentially, this can be anything you want in the deck. If you want a monster, guess what? Activated on your turn, you get a monster. If you want a trap, guess what? Activated on your opponent's turn, you get a trap card. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want it to be, and it's essentially free. The only thing about this is it can only be activated once per turn. This is a deck, I think it's very well constructed already. If they give it more support post-Lightning Overdrive, that's just going to be icing on the cake. I think this deck is already going to come out of Lightning Overdrive. I think this is going to be at least pushing for top tier status, up there with decks like Guru, like Paleo. There's already back row decks that are doing very well this format. I think this Amazement Attraction deck is going to absolutely do very well in the format, and I've been enjoying it. Like I said, test it out for yourself. Few things to note that go alongside this deck, because this deck can work alongside of banished trap cards because of their field spell Precious Park. I do think you'll see cards like Trap Trick. All these are normal trap cards, so Trap Trick being able to banish one to get one, and then being able to recur banished traps with Precious Park. That's a really cool mechanic, and I think you'll definitely see Trap Trick played. I think you also look at cards like Duality. This deck doesn't really need special summons. And then obviously you look at the new Pot card as well as Extravagance, and you look at various hand traps and other just real traps in general. This is definitely going to be played as a back row heavy strategy, as a control base, but this deck is very good, and I do look forward to the day it comes out here in the TCG. Anyways, thank you for watching so much. If you did like this video, hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe for future videos. And I guess until next time, united we stand, in Mage Power we trust.